A somewhat surprise hit at the US box office last year was Halloween, an official sequel to John Carpenter's 1978 cult classic of the same name. Made with Carpenter's blessing, he also provided the score, and we see Jamie Lee Curtis return as a very traumatised Laura Strode. The new film was produced by Jason Blum, whose Blumhouse productions have gained an impressive track record for box office hits made for next to nothing in comparison to their major studio counterparts. And I was very keen to learn more from Jason about his unique business model and why he took on an established franchise like Halloween.
Can you close the closet door?
I'd just like to do a general question first,
Sure.
which is, on what basis do you think the success of Blumhouse is based?
It's based on low budgets. I mean, really, if it had to come down to one thing, it's based on low, because continuing to stay vigilant about keeping our budgets low, and usually in Hollywood, people have success, the first thing they think is, now I can spend more money. And I think the fact that we've been able to keep our budgets low allows all the things that we believe in to happen. Take chances on odd things, make movies that don't make sense commercially. Get Out does not pencil out. There's no version of Get Out that you would read and say this movie's gonna make money. And it allows us to give final cut to our filmmakers, and it allows us to do different, unusual things, and all of that is tied to the fact that we're really disciplined about not spending a lot of money on what we do.
We ought to get round to Halloween too, and the origin of that. Now, this is not, a new filmmaker or a new idea. What's the connection?
Well, the connection for us was, back to your first question, I was really interested in the challenge of, would our system, we have a very unique way of making movies, would our system work on IP that's been around for 40 years? Could we attack Halloween with the Blumhouse system and actually make a good one, right? The first Halloween is the greatest horror movie ever, but the subsequent 9 movies have not been so good. So I was really, really excited about that challenge. And I think there's a lot of new things to bring to it. And what I'm really pleased about with the new Halloween is that I feel like we bring a lot of contemporary themes to this franchise that's been around for such a long time.
Now, this was a right that Dimension had that lapsed. I don't understand that.
So Dimension had the rights to Halloween, but they had to make a Halloween movie every 3 years, which, by the way, we would never make a deal like that, because it's the guaranteed way to make bad movies, is if you have to continue to make movies to hold on to the rights, the movies aren't gonna be good. And time was coming up and they weren't able to make a movie, and they didn't get the movie made, and the rights lapsed. And the rights actually went back to Miramax, which was the old, whatever. They lapsed, they went back to Miramax, which was a very complicated relationship between the two companies. And we approached Miramax about 4 years ago, and we said we'd love to do a Halloween movie, and there was endless amount of conversation, and finally they agreed.
Now, you've got John Carpenter involved in this, Danny McBride as writer, and Green as director. Do you bring those elements together?
Yeah, I brought all those elements together. So when I went to Miramax, the one caveat for me, the one prerequisite of doing the movie is I didn't want to do the movie without John Carpenter. And if you look at our movies, our franchises, one of the things that's unusual about our company is that we keep the creator of the first movie very involved. James Wan and Lee Wanell are in all the Insidiouses. James DeMonaco is in all the Purges and the TV show of The Purge. So I didn't want to do a Halloween without John Carpenter. And they said, well, we tried to get him, and he said no. And I said, well, let me give it a shot. And I went to meet John, and basically what did it is I said, look, they're gonna make this movie. They're gonna make it with us or without us. So instead of you complaining about how bad these movies are, join me and let's try and make a good one. And that got under his skin, and he agreed. And once he said yes, we were kind of off to the races.
And getting Jamie Lee Curtis involved, how significant was that?
The movie, I don't think the movie would have been nearly as good or worked as well, or it wouldn't have even been the movie that it is without her, obviously. Our participation in the movie was contingent on John. I would have done the movie if Jamie hadn't done it. I'm so glad that she said yes, because like I said, it would have been a far inferior movie. The way that we enticed her was, I think it did help to have John back. I think that gave her a certain amount of comfort. But what really happened is, her godson is Jake Gyllenhaal. And Jake Gyllenhaal had just done Stronger with David Gordon Green. And I called Jamie up and I said, we're doing a Halloween movie and David Gordon Green's directing, and she talked to Jake, and Jake said all the things that I've come to discover about David, which is that he's a spectacularly talented, actor-friendly director. And I think based on Jake's recommendation and clearly what the story was, we lured Jamie in, and she's really been kind of, if there's one leader of this new Halloween movie, it's been Jamie. She's incredibly forceful, and she is a great leader, and she's really helped, not only as an actress, but also as an executive producer, shape this movie.
It's not safe here. Where's Allison? Where's she?
Where's Allison?
Well, just weeks after speaking with Jason Blum, Halloween star Jamie Lee Curtis rolled into town as part of her global promotional tour for the film. And she certainly lived up to her tell it like it is reputation, and I couldn't resist getting her thoughts on the Blumhouse production model and also about her return to the character that has established her career.
Michael's here. Get downstairs. Go, baby, go!
You've balanced your career between comedy and action, and you always seem to have a very strong presence on screen. Do you go for roles that represent that?
Well, I think the roles go for you. You know, I am not going to be doing Medea. They're not going to be calling me to do Medea. They're going to call Annette Bening to do a Medea. I would call Annette Bening I would beg Annette Bening to go do Medea. Do you know what I mean? I think the roles call you. And I think the roles that I've been able to play, I've been lucky enough to play, primarily found their way to me because I'm the right person to do it.
Your brother didn't bring you here this time.
So I don't think that's a surprise. I think what's probably a surprise to people is how shy I really am, and how quiet and home-like I am. I am not the girl who rocks the red power suit out in the world. I am when I am in my professional guise, but the girl that I live with every day, my husband's wife, my children's mother, my friend's friend, is a different person.
Tell me, do you prefer comedy or action? You don't mind?
I prefer, well, now that all of a sudden I'm waking up at 60 almost with some attention. And I don't mean that in a weird way, but like all of a sudden now, like I'm getting jobs. Like, really? All of a sudden, the criteria now is creativity for me.
You have no security.
It used to be a little bit of money, you know, and so if you look at a movie like, for instance, Virus, which is this piece of shit I made for money back in the day. By the way, we all made it with good intentions, and I worked hard on it, and it was arduous, and all the rest of it is terrible. But it was also a money gig. I mean, I got paid well. Now the criteria is creativity. Now, for me, the money is not an issue. This movie was made for nothing. We all got paid scale, myself included.
What are we doing?
We don't need your help right now, Laura.
I mean, obviously, I'll get a little money if the movie is successful. It is successful. So I guess I'll make a little money. It's the last thing I've thought about, honestly. We made this movie because we wanted to make a great movie. The next job I'm doing is because the people are creative. It's not a money gig anymore. And that changed for me.
Working with David Gordon Green, can you...
Fabulous. Very creative, super fun, super fun. I had never worked with a director like that. He is just inventive and fun.
What do you mean?
He doesn't, you know, he shoots a traditional movie, but he's loose in a way that I had never worked before. And I got so turned on by working with him that I actually went home and wrote a script to direct, simply because I had such a good time with him. I thought, oh man, if making movies can be like that, I want some of that. Like, I want to do that again. You know, because movies can be arduous and slow and plodding and just sort of like, oh my God, it's all, you know, and it's fast, and
I know you thought
he
it was my cage.
plays with the actors and he plays with the camera, and he's very inventive. Super fun.
Talking to Jason Blum the other day, you know, he was
He
saying...
came here, right?
Yeah. He's, you know, and he's done incredibly well. I think he's very smart. This was made for not a lot of money. He said that no one gets upfront fees.
Nothing.
Is that true? You said you got paid scale.
Well, up front is $14,000.
Oh, you're joking.
That's what scale is in
Right.
America. America, for a movie actress, scale, I think, is $14,000.
Okay, but how confident were you going into this that there was going to be a back end?
You know what? I didn't go into it for the back end. I know you're going to go, yeah, right, no, you're lying. So I'm not lying. I'm just telling you. I went into it, as you can see by the work, with every intention to tell that story. I was not thinking about I didn't own this suit when I was shooting the movie. It was only when I was going to go around the world and start promoting the movie as Jamie, talking about Laurie, that all of a sudden I get all dolled up in a red suit. It's his model. It's his business model. Give creative people an opportunity to make a movie with a limited budget, but you leave them alone and let them be creative, and that's exactly what he did, and that's why the movie's so great. Now, will we all make money? Absolutely. But that's the name. It's called show business. It's not show charity. It's not, you know, we hope people are charitable. We hope everybody has private foundations. I have one myself. My husband and I have had a foundation since we've been married 34 years. We give a lot of money away. That's the nature of the privilege of being an artist and having philanthropy as part of your life. It's none of my business what he does or other people do. But it is a business. And what Jason Blum has figured out is if you give young filmmakers a small amount of money, but you leave them alone and let them tell the story they want to tell, and it's in a certain genre, and it's in a certain budget, chances are you're going to end up making some money, and he has proven that to be a very successful business model.
He is a killer, but he will be killed tonight. Happy Halloween, Michael.